You know that feeling? You're getting ready for a big outdoor adventure, and packing just feels like this stressful, complicated puzzle? Well, today we're going to unpack AligeraT, a really smart tool designed to solve that puzzle for you. We'll see how it helps you get your gear organized, totally master your pack weight, and plan every single trip like an absolute pro. Let's dive in.
Come on, we've all been there, right? You're halfway up the trail and your pack just feels like it's loaded with bricks. Or even worse, you finally get to camp for the night and realize your headlamp is sitting right on your kitchen table. Ugh, that's exactly the kind of thing that can turn an amazing trip into a really frustrating one.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll take a quick 5-step journey through how the app works. We'll start with planning your adventure, then build out your digital gear warehouse, pack the perfect bag, and finally, share that whole master plan with just one click. All right, so think of AligeraT as your personal super smart packing assistant. It's really built around 3 main areas, which you'll see as screens in the app. First, there's Home, which is all about planning your current trip. Then you've got Inventory, where you manage all the gear you own. And finally, Routes, where you put it all together and review your pack. Okay, so first things first, everything starts with a plan. Before you can even think about packing, you gotta tell the app where you're headed. In AligeraT, they call every adventure a travesía, which is really just a cool word for a trip or a journey. So, right from the home screen, you just pop over to My Trips. You can see all your past adventures listed there, like the GR11, or maybe the Appalachian Trail, or you just tap New Trip. A little box pops up, you give your adventure a name, tell it how many days it's going to be, and that's it. You're ready to start planning. And once that trip is active, the home screen becomes your mission control. You see the trip name right at the top, in this case GR11 Julio 2026, and you can instantly see your current pack weight totals. Then you've got this handy grid of all your gear categories, like cooking, shelter, and clothing. But check this out, because this is where it gets really smart. See that little bar at the bottom? You just plug in your own body weight, and the app gives you a recommended load. As you add gear, that bar updates in real time, showing you exactly what percentage of your body weight you're carrying. It's an instant gut check to keep you from overpacking. Now for the second big piece, and this is really the foundation of everything. Before you can pack for a trip, you need to know what you've got. That's where the inventory screen comes in. Just think of it as your own personal digital gear warehouse. The app is built on this brilliant idea called the double warehouse concept. Your inventory is your permanent locker where you keep everything you own. Your route, on the other hand, is where you pull specific items from that warehouse to create a packing list for just one single trip. Keeping those two things separate is the key to staying organized. And this right here shows you exactly what I mean. On the left, that's your main inventory, your big warehouse with all its categories. And on the right, that's the checklist for a specific route. In this case, the clothes you plan on taking. You're just picking and choosing items from the big locker for your small trip-specific list. So you're probably wondering, how do I build this thing? Well, it's super simple. It's just a 3-step process. First, you create your categories. Then you add your individual items. And finally, you define the details for each piece of gear, like its weight and what kind of item it is. And this is where the app becomes a total game changer, especially if you're a guide or you do a bunch of different sports. You are not stuck with the default categories at all. You can create your own for totally different activities, whether it's canyoning, via ferrata, or even trail running. It's completely customizable to you. Adding an item is super straightforward. Name, weight, and a quick description. But the most critical part here is choosing its type. And why does that matter? Well, the app needs to know if an item is fixed gear that stays in your pack, a consumable like food that gets lighter, or personal equipment that you're wearing and shouldn't count towards your pack weight. That little detail is what makes the final weight calculation so accurate. And get this is an amazing little detail, especially for professionals. In the description for these carabiners, there's a note that says, Review by March 2027. This basically turns your gear inventory into a safety log, which is an absolutely invaluable feature for any guide or trip organizer. All right, so we've got our trip planned, our gear is all logged in the warehouse, now it's time to bring it all together. The route screen is where we do our final check and, actually pack the bag. Think of this screen as your final pre-flight checklist. It's your dashboard for the current route. It gives you the big numbers right at a glance, your base weight and your total weight. And right below that, you get a super clear breakdown of where all that weight is coming from, category by category. Now here's another really clever little trick the app does. As you're physically packing your gear, you can use this as a checklist. If you uncheck something, let's say your power bank, it doesn't just vanish. It actually moves down to a reminders list. But, and this is important, its weight is still included in your total weight because the app knows you plan on packing it. It's a fantastic way to make sure you don't forget a thing. You know how it is when you're packing? Your mind is racing with all these little last-minute details. All right, I need that reservation number, or what was the ranger's phone number again? Well, the app has a spot for all of that. You can jot down general notes or lock in really critical info under the important section. It's built to capture those thoughts right when you have them. Okay, so you've done all the work, you're planned, you're organized, but now we get to what I think is the absolute killer feature of this app, especially for you guides and group leaders out there.
All that hard work, all that organization, you can share the entire thing in one single click.
And boom, this is what you get, a clean, professional, and incredibly detailed PDF. It starts with a full weight summary, and then it lists out every single piece of gear, all broken down by category with little checkboxes next to each one. And this is why it's so perfect for sharing. The PDF pulls in everything. Your custom notes, like remember to call the Federation, your packing reminders for stuff you hadn't checked off yet, and all your important info, like that phone number for the hut. This is a document you can confidently send to your clients or your partners so that everybody is on the exact same page.
So, let's just recap the big takeaways here. With AligeraT, you can plan trip-specific lists, manage your entire gear inventory, track your weight in real time, get smart reminders so you don't forget anything, and then export it all into these awesome professional PDF checklists.
Basically, AligeraT takes care of all the boring, tedious, stressful stuff so you can just focus on the adventure itself. And with your gear this organized, there's really only one question left to ask, isn't there? Where are you going next?